Thanks for watching the Silver River Chairs channel. We wanted to do a quick video to show you how to wrap the side rails of a split rail Danish chair. We have a really good video of how to do a regular Danish chair, and that will have a lot more instructions on how to set up the warp and the wraps for the front and back rails. Starting here with your tack in a single strand, you're going to bring it on the top of the chair and back to the back rail, hooking it here on this first L nail on the bottom. You're going to come back to the front, wrap around the front rail, hook this L nail, and then come back around to the back and hook on the second L nail on the back rail. So here are your two pairs or 4 strands that go on the outside edge of the chair. Once you have that cord wrapped twice on the back rail and you come forward, you're going to start your wraps around the front rail. Do this warp on the back, come forward, do some wraps, forward and back on the nail, do some wraps, forward and back on the nail, do some wraps. The back gets wrapped separately. So basically, this double nail action would normally be 1 nail on a regular Danish chair with 2 loops on the 1 nail. And it would normally be right in here, but the construction element of this chair makes it such that it has to be on the top. Then you do your wraps, tack here on the edge and wrap, come around, wrap, come around, wrap. We do all of this with the chair upright. So normally we would tell you to keep your coil very nice and neat, but for this one it doesn't matter because you have to pull the whole length through a couple of times. What we do want you to do is to bend your coil almost in half, leaving several feet, maybe a couple of yards, so that the ends are staggered, and get the middle, and we're going to hook on a nail and start weaving. And you might as well go ahead and weave and then hook the nail. It just saves you a little bit of time. So going over the outside, make sure there are no twists. You're going to wrap this loop fully around both rails and hook it on a nail. Hook the nail and then take out the slack. You don't want to pull this first one too tight. If you do, it'll raise up your warps and cause uneven tension. So pull taut, make sure that's flush, scooch these forward, and again around both of the outside rails on the opposite. It's important to make sure there's no twists underneath, so you can use your hands to feel it, but definitely later on use your eyes to see it. I'm coming up around the bottom rail only and down. And this one I do want to give a little bit of tension. And then come up through again, and certainly helps to clamp. All of this comes right back through. Feel on the inside, make sure there's no twists. Bring this up and around just the top rail. We're going to weave through again, doing the opposite of the pair we just put in. Pull taut, let go, and squish this second pair up against the first pair. This is going to be a lot more serpentine than the front pair. and lots more pulling. Here's the staggered ends. There's the end one and the second end. The reason for the staggered ends is because you splice on with knots on the side rails, and you don't want two knots right next to each other. That would be a little bumpy. I chose to tuck my splices underneath. Here's a better look at the first pair and the second pair and the differences between them. This front pair will be mostly straight, and the second pair will be very serpentine. Here's the left side again. We've got the double rail wrap followed by the lower rail wrap. Then it comes through and wraps the top rail. We wove through, and now it's time to do this other side. So the front double rail wrap is already there. That's how we started. So now we need to bring that whole length through one more time. So this side is opposite the other side. On the other side, you did the bottom rail wrap first, and on this one, you do the top rail wrap first. Check for twists and bring it through. I like to give it a little tension on that bottom rail wrap. And keep pulling. This is the reason that we do splicing and use a little bit smaller coils instead of trying to use the biggest coil possible to do this whole weaving part. It's just going to end up like this. The front wraps are a little bit tricky due to this angle of the front post with the side rails, and that'll even out as we weave along the side. First, goes to the other side, comes all the way back, wraps here, comes up, shadow pair, and outer pair. So it's going to continue like that all the way across. From here on out, you're just weaving opposite rows as you wove before. Back to this other side, both rails, top rail, bottom rail, both rails, top rail. Watch for twists, even in here. And then bottom rail. And then double rail. Keep weaving until you run out of your first staggered end. I have a new coil. We're going to do a square knot. So this one's going to bend in a U shape. And I'm going to send it through for now. And this one is going to go in and around in. So we've got two interlocking U's that we can shift. It's kind of tedious to get this to sit where you want it to sit, so you just have to fumble with it and keep tightening and shifting. And I like to give it a little smash with some pliers so that it'll lay flat. I like to tuck the ends in the wraps. So this is the long staggered end that I'm going to keep weaving with. This is the new, even longer end. I'm going to take this guy and tuck it under. And then this one will come this way. Once you get a few wraps to cover this end, you can trim it off. One thing you have to really watch out for are twists. And yeah, nobody's going to see it, but you're going to know it's there. And Carl Hansen and Hans Wegner would want you to back this out and remove the twist. I actually had a twist way up in here earlier. You couldn't see it at all, but I still backed it out and redid it. So you don't have to unweave the whole thing. You just have to loosen it quite a bit. So it looks like we have maybe room for 3 pairs. So this to this. We could compress slightly and maybe get another pair in, but it is getting tight when you weave. I've been pushing a double loop through, but it's just impossible. So now I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to come around to the side, grab the innermost strand, and just put that one under. I'll get this one woven all the way across, and then I'll come back and pick up the second guy. You have to really hold the chair to get the material through. Now for the second strand. Okay, that last row is pretty tight, and it always looks nice if you have a double rail wrap on both sides. You can see where the previous weaver ended their strands with 2 tacks. I like to make some space here in the pattern, grab the ends of the cord, pull them through. That way you can hold some tension this way while you staple or tack that way. So here we've got these 2 ends attached to the side rail, and we just have to hammer all these nails down. Thanks for watching the Silver River Chairs channel. Please like, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching.